Hey Dragonflies, it's Jen Tarrant. You are here for the Iridescent Dragonflies show. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm super happy that you're here. All right, so this is week 4, part 4 of Taming Pandemic Fatigue. We've had quite the month working through it. We've talked about stress and anxiety towards the future, and we've talked about that emotional exhaustion and really kind of delved into this landscape of pandemic fatigue. And as we wrap up this series, I'm wondering if you feel like you've lost some of your willingness to do all of the things. Are you feeling worn out by all of the having to keep up with all of the guidelines and what can and can't I do, what should and shouldn't I do, all of those things? It can be overwhelming, it can be exhausting. And, we find ourselves wondering, like, how much longer do I have to do all of the things? And we don't know, right? So I'm not here to give you an end date, unfortunately, but hopefully these techniques that I'm going to cover today will help us to release some of the frustration and be able to pick up and continue forward with more ease and less upset inside. All right, so starting with that first part, getting over some of the upset. It can be really frustrating whenever we're told, over and over the things that we can and can't do, and especially when it goes on and on and on with no end in sight. And when that happens, sometimes we just need sort of like a release valve, right? I need to get out the emotions. I'm just feeling like, right? So I have a great breathing technique. This one is called Volcano Breath, appropriately named. And this one is excellent for helping us get out of and release some of that frustration. So it's a simple, a robust breath in, and then a big explosive breath out with this exact arm. And so we'll inhale and then exhale however it feels best for you. Kind of an explosion. So let's do like 3 of those if you're doing this with me together. I know I feel better getting out some of that frustration. And interestingly, I also feel really energized too. So the great thing about this breath is, yes, it helps me to get out the frustrations because I get to go at the end, but also it helps me feel energized. And that's one of the great things about frustration and anger is that when we let it express itself in a constructive way, it's actually very motivating to take those next steps forward. So if you notice yourself feeling that way, that is one of the great benefits of this very constructive release valve for our breath and for our frustration through the breath. Kind of in that same vein, when we look to the wisdom of the dragonfly, what happens is the dragonfly reminds us that when we lose our joy, the dragonfly restores lightness to our mental processes. And just imagine seeing that dragonfly flip from plant to plant, from one location to another, and they have such lightness. And they're not bogged down by frustration, right? So even if we don't see one presently, if we feel that frustration and we can bring to mind, maybe by wearing a dragonfly, or I'm sure you're surprised to know that my phone has a dragonfly case on it. It can be a reminder for, oh yeah, I don't have to be bogged down. I can have a lightness in how I think about things. So rather than being bogged down in the frustration of all these demands and all of these things that we have to do or all these things we can't do, where's the lightness? Am I able to see that, oh, okay, when I comply to all of these things, I'm able to help keep all of us safer. I'm able to, whatever it is, keep the yoga studio where I practice a safe place to practice. So I love that little lesson that we can gain from the dragonflies. If we would like to put some essential oils to use, I have a few suggestions this time. One of them in particular is pretty grounding. So if that frustration makes you feel like you're sort of spinning off into Never Never Land because you're just so mad, I would highly recommend VETIVER because it is a heavier smell, which helps us feel a little more grounded. If we feel like we're just trying to work through it, like, well, I don't quite get it, I'm trying to, be a good community member, but I need some help digesting what's going on. There are two really awesome ones for that. And one is fennel. Fennel is just great for our digestion in general. So you could even make like a tea out of crushed fennel seeds. And the other one is called DigestZen. So it's one of those blends, and it has a lot of fennel in it as well. And both of these can support us as we digest these mental processes. And then the last one I want to recommend is another one that's a little bit more grounding. It has a few of the different tree scents in it, and it's called Forgive. And I like this one because it can be not just frustrating to have these different things imposed upon us, but it can also cause wrinkles in our relationships or our interactions with other people when we disagree. And we can get so frustrated and so angry when we don't see things the same way a friend, a coworker, a neighbor, a family member feels about the issues. And so Forgive can help to soften our emotional experience there and help us to be able to approach the situation with more compassion. So I really recommend those, the VETIVER and the Forgive for the grounding, Forgive for the compassion, and then Fennel and DigestZen for that processing, and even fennel tea if you like. Let's move on to an affirmation that may help. I choose love and acceptance for everyone around me. And this one is particularly helpful if you are having those difficult exchanges with people that you experience in your life. I choose love and acceptance for everyone around me. That can even be you. So if you find yourself kind of hard to take sometimes, I choose love and acceptance for everyone around me, including myself. Maybe you could add a little tagline there. And then I'd love to wrap up this whole series with one last visualization. And so if you're in a place where it's safe to do so, you can soften your gaze or close your eyes and, be seated or standing or perhaps laying down if that's better. And begin to imagine the sunshine hitting you, and you can almost see like rays of sunshine. Maybe it's kind of coming through a cloud a little bit where you see those rays hitting you. And as you imagine those rays of sunshine coming down on you, imagine that that is restorative light and love surrounding you. So that the frustration, the upset, maybe even the anger towards all of the different things is softening and being replaced by restorative light and love. And it's everywhere. That restorative light and love is everywhere. And even perhaps imagine yourself sending that same restorative light and love outward as you've gotten your fill. Oh, I have enough. I feel better. Now I want to share that with other people. All right, dragonflies. That is it for this time. Taming Pandemic Fatigue. If you have not had a chance yet to check out the Create Your Balanced Life Spring Edition, a 12-week transformation using the wisdom of yoga and Ayurveda, it is starting right away. So you'll definitely want to jump in on that. It starts on the 22nd. And it's 12 weeks long, 2 sessions per week. And yes, you can catch the recordings if you're not able to join live. So I'd love for you to hop in on that. In the description, you can find the link to register. That's all I have for you for today. Until we see each other again, bye for now.